So good morning, everybody. Have a couple of blocks nearby, and we're gonna lay down. And what I'm hoping for, maybe if you start in a really easy Baddha Konasana sitting up, and then take the blocks about where those knees would be once we're laying down, which will be tricky. And then go ahead and lay down, and maybe an even easier way would be to just keep the blocks with you and then extend the arms as long as they'll go. And, so that you can place the blocks when we're ready for them. And then straighten your legs. If it hurts to straighten the legs, if your back feels better with your knees bent, go ahead and do that. And then place one hand at the low belly, one hand at the upper belly or the chest. The elbows rest on the floor. And just start here by feeling your body on your yoga mat. Start to let the legs relax, let them fold out in any way that makes sense for your body. Some of your toes will be more straight up, some will be more out. Kind of feel your hips, see if they feel even to you. Both high and low and up and down, just kind of snuggle those hips in. Maybe shift through the shoulders to make the back body really wide. And then you're resting on the back of your head. And starting to feel your breath. We're starting to get centered on our yoga mat. Starting to let go of external distractions, thoughts. And this morning we're going to play with Dirga Pranayama, or three-part breath. And so the hands on our bodies help us to just feel the movement of the breath. And it's a three-part breath, but it's not really a stopping. It's just kind of a flow from low belly to chest. And then on the exhale, from chest to high belly to low belly. So as you start to inhale, take maybe a third of the breath into the belly. And then another third of the breath into the high belly. And then that final third of the breath into the lungs. And then as you exhale, kind of a third of it out from the lungs or the chest, high belly, low belly. Good, and then inhaling. And exhaling. Starting to develop this three-part breath as if you were drawing water through a straw and working to get all of that water up through the straw slowly, purposefully, and then letting the breath or the water go. And see if you can do this Dirga Pranayama, or three-part breath, without force, without holding the breath, but seeing if you can make it a full breath. Softening the jaw, keeping the back of the neck long. See if you can get all the way to the top of your lungs, all the way underneath the collarbones. And on your exhale, see if you can let go all the way until that belly presses towards spine. Good. One more nice deep breath here. And exhaling it, letting it go. And then release the hands, take the arms overhead, straighten out the legs and just stretch, really stretch as if you were just waking up. Maybe press right arm, right leg away from each other and then left side away from each other, getting a really good stretch. And then bring the hands down, bring your left knee to your chest. Squeeze that leg in, take the hands behind your knee and straighten the left leg up to the sky. Now, if hamstrings are super tight, just bend your right knee, let that foot stay on the floor. Good, and then bend and straighten the left leg. Just doing a little bit of warm up here. We're gonna be on the floor for a little bit, so hang in there with me. Good, just bend and straighten, warming up the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the knees, right? Good, next time the left leg is straight up, point and flex. Good, point and flex. Couple more, point, big points, big flexes. And then circle the ankle and circle the other way. And then scrunch your toes and spread the toes out. And bend the left knee, bring it to chest, straighten that leg either down to the floor or foot to the floor. Bring your right leg or your right knee to chest. Hold it there for a moment, take the hands behind your knee, and then straighten it up to the ceiling and bend it. Good, and just keep doing that. It's your own pace here. Just starting to warm up the muscles, the joints. Find your breath. That's it. A few more right here. And the next time your right leg is straight, hold it straight, point and flex your foot. On purpose, right? Big points, big flexes, warming up calf muscles, shin muscles, and then big circle with your ankle. Circle the other way. And then scrunch your toes and spread them out best you can. Bring that knee to chest, hold it in, and then stretch that leg really long along the floor. Take the arms overhead, watch your shoulders here. Thumbs are pointing down. I have my tips of my thumbs resting on the floor. The arms are active. Pull the shoulder blades down, squeeze your hips, squeeze your butt. Engage the legs, maybe lift your left heel off the floor just for a second, just a couple inches. Breathe and lower that heel. See if you can lift the right heel off the floor, right leg off the floor. Big deep breath, keep squeezing the hips and lower that down. And then slide both heels back up your mat. Bring your knees to chest, wrap your arms around. That's it. Keep your right knee to your chest. Take the hands behind your knee again. Stretch the left leg long, but this time let it hover. That's it. Just stretch. Stretch the left heel as far away as you can from the left hip. Squeeze the left glute, just getting nice and active here. And then lower your left knee to the floor, or left leg to the floor. Grab your right knee with your left hand and come across to a super easy twist. Don't go deep here. We're not nearly warmed up. And as you inhale, bring the right knee to your chest. Grab it with your right hand. Take it out to the side, stretching that inner thigh. Good. And then bring it to chest. Bring it across one more time. And inhale to chest. Exhale out to the right side, warming up. And then bring your right knee to your chest, straighten that leg along the floor. Bring the left knee in. Maybe hold behind it. Just breathe. Maybe hover the right foot. Feel a really nice stretch here as the legs get more active. The glute, right side glute gets more active. And then lower the right knee to the chest. Take your right hand to the left knee, bring it across. And then inhale, center, exhale it out to the left. Inhale, center, exhale it across, just stretching it out. And inhale, center, last one, bring it out and out to the side. And bring it back to chest, hold it right there. Good. And then place both feet on the floor. Find your blocks again. Maybe extend them as far as your arms will go while still fingertips are touching the block. Straighten your right leg back to the floor and take your left knee to the block. Think tree pose. So your block, for most of us, it's either going to be at the medium height setting or it can go down to the lower setting. And here's the trick here. Feel your right hip point in particular and draw the right hip point to the floor so that both hip points feel pretty even. Fire up your right leg, fire up your right glute as if you were standing on the floor. Good, squeeze both hips to the center, so make this active on both sides. And then just relax the muscles. Keep the toes pointing up on the right foot. Keep that leg centered, but just relax it. And then squeeze both glutes, both hips. And exhale. Good, and this third time, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hips. Maybe press your left leg into the block a little bit more. If your hips are not at all even, the height of your block goes up until the hips feel pretty even. So press gently that leg into the block, squeeze the hips, squeeze the glutes, maybe fire up the back shoulders, right? The head is neutral. Think tree pose as if we were standing. And let that go. Good. Bring your left knee up. Straighten that leg to the floor. Slide your right knee up or right foot up and do the same thing on the right side. Find the height of the block. That makes sense. Some of you might be all the way up high. Some of you might be low. Chances are you are not without a block here. So stay with the block because we're focused on these hips leveling out. So maybe the hands rest on the hip points. My right foot is resting more or less on the inside left leg. My left leg is active. All right, so here we're just going to start by toning in through the whole left leg. Flexing the foot, starting to draw the hips in as if those muscles of the hips and the glutes could really attach strongly to the bone, right? We're just drawing everything in strong. Low belly is toned. And then we're going to exhale, release it. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Squeeze, level out the hips, feel that. Flex your left foot. Think about standing on that imaginary floor and release it. Good. Last time here. Squeeze in, maybe press your right outer leg into the block. And notice how that changes everything. Good, belly is toned, hips are level, the shoulders press toward the floor so that our spines are nice and even as we find our supine tree pose. And exhale, relax it. Good, bring the right knee pointed up, straighten that leg back down, bend the left knee, and take that knee out to the side again, just like we did before. two choices. One, you're gonna stay here, or two, you're gonna slide your left foot on top of your right thigh. So my foot is resting on the thigh, watch the right knee. I'm still resting my left outer leg on the block. So that foot's just a little bit higher. Now fire up the right leg. Fire up the hips, the glutes, press gently into the block with your left leg, but resist the left foot pressing into the thigh, into the right thigh. So we've got everything really fired up, and then take the arms up to the ceiling, press the shoulders down, and let the thumbs touch the floor behind you. Notice the big arch in the back, right, or the ribs. Try to soften the ribs down. The head is neutral. You're looking straight up at your ceiling. Take a deep breath, fire everything out. Watch the knees here, folks. And release those arms. Slide the left foot back off. Release that leg and straighten it down to the floor. Good, other side. So starting your tree pose, that leg is resting on the floor. Your foot maybe is just resting on the floor as well, or on the block rather. Or slide your right foot onto your thigh, whoop, cramp, and let your knee rest on the block. Start to fire up hips, glutes, leg. Flex your left foot, maybe even your right foot. Resist the weight of your right foot with your left thigh. Feel all of that stuff happening. Maybe take the arms up to the ceiling, press the shoulders into the floor, and then let the arms go overhead so that the thumbs are touching, the fingers are active, the arms are active. Everybody breathe here. Soften the belly back to the floor. And exhale, release. Bring your right knee up, straighten that leg down to the floor. Good, circle out your ankles. And then bend both feet, both knees, and let the knees splay out to the sides. Adjust your blocks so that you feel supported by the blocks. Again, some of you might need to go up a little bit higher. Whether those blocks are out at the knees or under the thighs. Soles of the feet are touching. Watch the knees. You don't have to come in really deep. Soften the lower ribs back down to the floor. Soften the shoulders down to the floor. Maybe your hands rest on the inner thighs. And just pause here for a moment without any real engagement. Just allow the legs to relax. You might even adjust the block so that you're getting more stretch, but still supported. So sometimes when we are doing a stretch where the leg is just hanging, like if you took one block out and the knee was just hanging in air, the muscles will start to respond by protecting instead of stretching. So the blocks underneath just give our bodies a chance to, okay, so I'm feeling a stretch. It's not really intense, it's mild, but the body feels safe here. So it's going to allow the muscles to start to elongate. Good, so press into your feet. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze your hips. Now we're becoming more active. Maybe gently press the backs of those legs into your blocks. Don't go crazy here. Find your breath. Keep squeezing all the muscles. Keep toning all the muscles, and then let everything go. Everything, everything. Good. One more time here. I want you to start to draw the hips in. Squeeze the glutes, tone your belly. Press the thighs gently toward the blocks. They don't have to press very hard at all. Mine are not. Good. Soften the ribs in the belly. Squeeze. And release. Good. And then just for a moment, take the blocks out from underneath the knees. Allow those legs to hover in space right after I just said don't do it. Shake them out, maybe rock side to side. And then draw those knees together. Ooh, yeah. Good. Cross your left knee over your right. Bring both knees to chest. Squeeze it in. Find your breath. Good. Take that left leg and slide the shin back out so that you're in a supine figure four. And breathe. And then squeeze the knees in toward your chest and then move the knees away until you have a small space behind the lower back. Good. Squeeze them in and press them out just a little bit. Good. One more right here. Squeeze them in. And then find that small space behind your lower back. Flex your foot, your left foot, both feet really. Try to keep your left foot where it is or your left leg where it is and release your right leg really long toward the front end of your mat. And then as you exhale, bring the right knee back in, connect with your left ankle, bring the knees toward your chest. Start to move the knees away, find that space behind your low back, release the right leg long. Yeah, hip work, ladies and gents. Bring the knees back in. We've got one more here. Squeeze it in the back rounds. Move both knees away till you find space. Release the right leg long. Hold right here, working with the hip muscles. And bend that knee, bring it back in. Take your right foot to the floor. Release your left leg and stretch it out. Stretch, 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 right? Release any compression at the front of that hip. And then bend both knees again, both feet to the floor. Cross your right leg over your left and bring your knees toward your chest. And just stretch out the right hip a little bit. And then slide your right thigh, or your right shin rather, across so that you're in a supine figure four. Check out the hips. Notice if the hips started to sway one way or the other. Find your breath, flex your feet, draw the knees closer to chest, feel that deeper stretch. And then move the knees just far enough away to create space behind the lower back. Keep your right leg where it is, stretch the left leg. And breathe. So, right isometric work for that right hip. Bring the left leg in, squeeze toward your chest, you got this. And then move just enough away to create space and stretch the left leg long. Good, one more right here. It's slow work, ladies and gents. Squeeze the knees in, create a little bit of space, push that leg away from you, hold. And then bring the left knee in, connect. Let the left foot come to the floor, release your right, and stretch it out really long. Stretch your left leg long as well. Stretch the arms overhead. And exhale, bend both knees, roll over to one side and come on up. Good, find a nice easy seat. Grab both of your blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, pillows, blankets, and take the blocks to the back edge of your mat because you're going to sit on them. So I've stacked one beside the other and then sit up on them. So you're nice and tall, right? Oh, right. We just gained a few inches here. And then if you can, if your knees allow, and I know some of you are not going to be able to, I want you to just come into a cross-legged pose and allow the pelvis to spill forward. So having blocks underneath us, and you can even put a blanket on top of the blocks, elevates the hips and allows the knees to relax a little bit more. Roll the shoulders back, inhale, reach up. As you exhale, right fingertips to the floor, stretch over to the left. Good, inhale, both arms up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm reaches over. Good, stretch, good, inhale up. Let's do the right side again, right fingers down, left arm over, and inhale up. Exhale, and breathe. Good, take both arms up, everybody. Cactus arms, cactus arms. Open up the chest. Inhale, press the elbows back. Exhale, squeeze them and touch. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. One more. Inhale, open up. Exhale, squeeze it. Good. This time, open, hold. As you exhale, bring the right elbow in front of the left. I know it's hard to see with the black shirt on if you're watching the video. And come into your version of eagle arms. Soften the shoulders down, tone your belly. So eagle arms, often our palms or fingers are touching each other. For some of us, it's the back of the arms. For some of us, the hands are away from each other. For some, the elbows are away from each other. So no stress or strain in the shoulders. Good. And then just kind of wiggle those shoulders, wiggle the hips, the waist a little bit as those arms kind of sway side to side. Just warming up. That's it. Good. Take it back to center. Look at your arms. Remember which elbow is closest to you. For me, it's my right. Release the arms. Inhale up. Cactus arms. Stretch the elbows back. Take the left in front of the right. Come into eagle arms on this side. Kind of snuggle down as we breathe. And then the same thing, just kind of sway the shoulders, sway the arms. Just warming everything up. It's a good stretch right here. That's it. And take it back to center. Release those arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, down. Roll your shoulders. And then all I want you to do, you're on these blocks. And by the way, I know there's at least one of you, if not more, that's sitting this way is not really a happy day. Maybe the legs are straight out, right? Instead with the knees bent. All right, so everybody else, I want you to squeeze your hips and glutes as if you were gonna lift off of your blocks. When we talk about strengthening the hips, the glutes, right? We've got to activate them. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing, and then let go. Good, 2 more here. Squeeze up. Feel yourself get a whole inch taller as we activate those muscles. Keep pressing, keep squeezing those hips as if you were trying to wring out the muscles, and then let go. 1 more here. Squeeze up, squeeze in, squeeze up. Squeeze in, squeeze up. So if you're sitting at a desk, right, doing your work and you're thinking you are just gonna fall asleep here, this is something that you can do. Feet on the floor and let go. Oh yeah. All right, so straighten, just little tidbits here, right? Straighten the legs out in front of you. Watch your knees here. I want you to keep your lean back a little bit. This is going to make it easier. Maybe come back onto the fingertips. Slide your right heel up and then step over your right leg. Okay, normally we would do this as a twist. But instead of going to a twist here, I want you to now bend your right leg and come into a seated figure 4. Where your shin is, where your left shin is on your right knee, we'll change the stretch a little bit. So maybe you play there. Either your fingertips are still back because it's enough to balance here with the hips folded like this. Maybe you've leaned forward and you can wrap those legs. Maybe your right leg is much lower, but digging into the floor so that you have room for the left knee to fold. Find this pose, right? Pressing it in, lifting up, drawing your breath. It's Sunday morning and we are stretching out our hips. Everybody breathe. Good, if you've wrapped your hands around your leg, let that go. Take the fingertips back to either the floor or your blocks. Lift your chest, listen up. You're gonna try to keep your left leg in whatever configuration it is for you. Try to keep it there and just slide your right leg away from it. Oh, good. See, mine moves a lot more. Good. And slide the right knee back up. Squeeze it in. Slide it away. We're doing 3. And slide it in. Good. Last one here. Slide it away. And slide it in. Hold. Lift your chest. Lift, lift, lift. Take the arms up. Find your breath. And exhale. Let it go. Release your right leg. Let it straighten as much as you need to. Release the left leg. Straighten that. Shake it out. Good. And then let's go to the other side. So nice active left leg. Slide your right heel up. Step over your left leg. Lift up tall. Fingertips are to the floor so your spine is nice and strong. And then let the knee fall out to the side as you come into the seated figure 4. And just check it out. Check it out on this side. Maybe wobble sideways, you know, just wiggle side to side just to see where the hip is. Lift up really tall. Breathe. Good. And then tone the belly. Flex your foot. See if you can keep that right leg about where it is. Oh, and release the left leg. And then bend it, squeeze it in. Straighten the left leg. Try to keep the right where it is. And bring it in. Good. One more here. Straighten. And squeeze it in. Hold. Lift up your chest. Maybe you wrap those arms around. Maybe not. Just getting a nice stretch. You can even take the hands through the legs a little less intense, right? Breathe. And then hold this really tall. Take the arms up. Flex your feet. Smile. And exhale, hands to the floor, lean back, slowly lower the left leg, release the right, shake it out. Almost done here. Bend both knees. If you can, take I don't remember which one we just did, but take the right leg and take it behind your left foot, behind your left leg. And then see if you can let that knee drop to the floor. And then lift up really tall. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, twist to the left. Twist toward that knee that's pointing up toward the ceiling. Take your right elbow to the left knee and take your left hand behind, coming into a twist. Now press into the glutes, into the block, right? And maybe press the right knee toward the floor. Be gentle here. And watch that bottom ankle, that it feels okay too. You can move that leg as much as you need to as you find this twist. Good, deep breath. As you exhale, let it go. Come on back to center. Fingertips either to your blocks or to the floor. Slide the right leg out. Straighten both legs. Flex both feet. See if you can find a strong Dandasana. Right? Maybe harder on the blocks. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Arms come up. Breathe. And let go. Bend both knees. Let's do the other side. You're going to take your left foot, slide it behind your right. Lift up nice and tall. Variation on this seated twist. Inhale, reach the arms up. Twist everything to the right. Bring the left elbow to that right knee. And right hand behind, finding your twist. Deep breath, everybody. You got it. And inhale, reach up, take it back to center. Exhale, those hands to the floor. Release your left leg, straighten both. Watch the backs of your knees. Flex both feet. Squeeze the legs together. Squeeze the hips and glutes on those blocks. Lift the arms up. Lift your chest. And exhale, let it go. Good. And then bend those knees. If you happen to have socks on, you might want to take them off. We're going to start to get moving a little bit more. We don't want any slip hazards. All right, so come on off your blocks, everyone. Take the blocks to the front edge of your mat. Come to your hands and your knees, plant your hands, flip your toes under, and lift your knees just an inch or two off the floor. And feel your breath here. So if this is very, very challenging, then take the knees back to the floor, right? There's no reason to be unhappy in yoga class. So squeeze the belly, find your breath, using your arm shoulder strength to support this upper body. Now isometrically squeeze the legs toward each other without really moving them. Bring your chest toward your thighs, straighten the legs, downward facing dog. Bend one knee and then the other. Find your pose, find your breath. That's it. Stretching it out. Maybe shaking those hips side to side, stretching out side body. Good. And then take the feet a little wider on your yoga mat. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Bend your knees enough to take the hands to your knees and come all the way up to standing. Good. And roll it out. So we're going to play with a little bit of squats to warm up, right? Warm up the hips, warm up the legs. And there's something that took me, I would say, most of my adult life to figure out. So it's really important that your knees track your feet. So we're going to start wide with a little bit of goddess pose and some breath work. So start wide for you and then bend your knees. And when you bend your knees, those knees and the ankles kind of line up straight up and down. But more importantly, the knees don't collapse into the center. If they do, I want you to play with the width of your feet. Maybe you have to come in just a little bit, right? And then tone the belly, then lift the chest. Straighten the arms, straighten the legs, lift up. On the exhale, come on down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let's slow down. Push into your feet, lift, inhale. Exhale, squeeze down. Good, and up. Exhale, squeeze down. Let's do 5 more. Inhale, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, drop down. Good, and inhale. Exhale, 4. Inhale, lift. Exhale, 3. Inhale, lift. Exhale, 2. And inhale up. Exhale down, last one. And inhale up. And release those hands. Now, heel toe your feet in until they're, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet apart, maybe. It's hard for me to say, but the feet are pretty much outside the line of your hips. And then bend your knees and bend them soft and just see where they go. So once again, the collapse in, or in this case, the collapse out for some. See if you can keep your knees and your feet lined up. If you can't, go a little bit wider or a little bit narrower, but don't come to hips width. Notice that. This time the butt sits back, right? The legs getting that work, trying to keep the knees from going past your toes. All right, stand up. Exhale, bring the arms back. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, down. Watch your knees. You can even look at them. Inhale. Exhale, try to keep them from collapsing. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. And down. Good, 5 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, 3. Down. And 2. Last one. And down. And stand up. And just shake it out. And then walk the feet hips width apart. So I said for most of my adult life, when my feet were about hips width apart and I would pick something out, up, my knees would splay out. And it never really dawned on me to go wider with my feet. So as we squat, we're doing 10 more of these. We're doing 30 total. So 10 more here, same thing. Feet are roughly parallel. If you bend your knees, start there and look, and your knees are wonky, change the direction of your feet or change the width of them. All right, we got 10. Butt goes back as if you were sitting in a chair. And when you come up, squeeze those hips. Here we go. Inhale up and down. Inhale. For 2. Inhale. Use your breath. 3. Inhale. 4. 5. And 6. And 7. And 8. 9. And 10. And stand up and roll out your shoulders and shake it out. And come on up to the front of your mat. Good. Take the arms up. Exhale, nice forward fold. Maybe your hands come to your blocks. Shake the hips side to side. Nice tone to your belly. Find your breath. Breathe, everyone. And then feel the sit bones start to lift up, even with soft knees. Feel the inner thighs widen toward the back. Find your breath. Good. Soften the knees even more. Step back, right leg. Your right knee is either high or low. Hands go to your left knee. Inhale, lift your chest. Inhale more, lift the arms. And breathe. Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. From down dog to plank. From plank, knees down. Chaturanga, slow. Inhale to low cobra. Exhale, push back to downward facing dog. Little bit of flow here. Take your time. Good. Optionally, right leg up. Step all the way through to lunge. Find your pose. Left knee is high or low. Hands come to your right knee. Find your stability. Inhale the arms up. And breathe. And notice, right? Is it too much this early in class? Is it too little? Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Push off your back leg and step forward. Bend both knees and inhale up. Exhale to your heart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale down. Pause. Feel your legs, your hips. I used to do flow a lot, and I used to do it really fast, right? Sun salutes. I don't do anything so fast anymore. I want to feel what's happening in my body. I want to feel where I'm tight, right? Hamstrings this morning are feeling a little snug. Breathe. Soften both knees. Step back, left leg. Hold your high lunge or low lunge. Take your hands to your knee. Lift your chest. Find your stability. Draw those thighs toward each other isometrically. Inhale, reach the arms up. And breathe and feel the stretch here. Tone the belly. Good. Here, cactus arms. Cross your left in front of your right and see if you can come to eagle arms. Squeeze the legs isometrically toward each other and also isometrically press them away from each other, right? Find your breath. Release those arms. Inhale up. Exhale down to the floor. Step back. Downward facing dog. Claw those hands into to the floor. Hold on to that big imaginary beach ball. Find your breath. Plank pose. Breathe. Knees up or knees down. We could do a whole class on chaturanga, so please be careful here. Bend at the elbows, come on down. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, down dog. And breathe. Optionally, the left leg goes up. Step all the way through to lunge. Find your pose. Hands to knee. Lift your chest. Inhale it up. Pause. Find the stretches, right? Big energy through that right leg, that right glute. Arms to cactus pose. This time the right goes in front of the left. And we find eagle arms, which makes this lunge even harder. Breathe. Good. Release those arms. Inhale. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Breathe. Wiggle the hips. Stretch through the underarms. And breathe. Inhale to your tippy toes. Lower to your knees. Hands on blocks are okay and appropriate if you would like. We're in table pose, and then the right leg presses back. Squeeze the belly in, everybody. Lift the right leg. Right, hip work, hip work, hip work. Breathe. First, let's do some balancing table, left arm out. Did this particular variation of the pose last class, and I really kind of like it. So here we are again. I want you to bring your right knee to your right elbow as your left elbow comes down to your left hip. And push out. We're going to do 5. Exhale in. Inhale out. And 3. And out. 4. And out. 5. Squeeze. And out. Lower your left hand. You know who you are. You can go to soft fists here if those wrists are starting to get cranky. Bring your right knee to your right elbow. Press it out, step it across. Good, bring it into the elbow and out and across. Last one, squeeze it in and out. And then squeeze that in, hold, extend it out to the side if you can. Woo! And then bend the knee and release that side leg. Holy moly, plant the hands, draw the fingers toward the mat, step back, downward facing dog, shake it out. Find your breath. Inhale to your tippy toes. Exhale, lower the knees. Shake out the wrists if they're chatting with you. And then step back, left leg. Level out your hips. Find your breath. That's it. Lift your left leg, tone the belly, reach the right arm out. Here we go again, that tricky little variation, left knee to left elbow, as right knee comes to right hip, push out. And squeeze in for 2. And 3. And 4. Woo. Good. And 5, squeeze. And extend out. Lower your right hand. Take your left knee to your left elbow. Squeeze it in. And step it across. Squeeze it in. And step it across. Good, last one, or 2. I forget how many we did. I think it was only 3. Last one. And squeeze that knee in. I don't have room, but you can extend that leg out to the side. And then bend the knee and lower it down. And say hello to your lovely hips. Flip your toes under. Find downward facing dog. And step back. and breathe. And walk the hands all the way back to your feet. Look at your feet, bend your knees. Keep the knees tracking in the same line as your feet, hands to your knees, and lift all the way up. And roll your body, roll your whole body, roll your shoulders, and shake it out. Good. Right back to the front of your mat. Inhale, take it up. Exhale all the way down. Soften the knees and step back to downward facing dog. And breathe. From down dog, come to a good solid plank. Wrist issues, you can go to soft fists, but then I would lower knees as well. Okay, so you're not putting that much pressure on the fingers and knuckles. 1, you're here. 2, the knees are down. 3, lift your right leg. Breathe. It's not a high lift. Try to keep the hips level. And breathe. Now, 1, stay here. 2, you're done. Come on down. 3, right knee to right elbow. Squeeze it in. Press the leg straight. Bring it in. Press it out. Last one. Squeeze. Out. Lower your foot. Downward facing dog. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving, I think. We're burning all kinds of calories. All right, let's do the other side. Get it out of the way. Whew, plank pose. Knees or no knees. Breathe. Lift your left leg optionally. Hold. That's it. And then optionally again, knee to elbow for 3. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, good, everybody. Lower your knees, take those knees wide on your mat, and come on back for child's pose. Find your breath. Circle out those wrists, those ankles, or those wrists, those fingers. Yeah, just feel that. Just breathe. All right, come on up. If you have your 2 blocks, grab your 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, but you have 2 couch pillows, lay those on the right side, long edge of your mat. On me, folks, be gentle. And then take your hands back to a table pose, or take your body back to a table pose. We're going to play with pigeon pose, but we're going to do it a little bit differently. So hang in there with me if you can. Slide your right knee forward, but then drop your knee and your hip to the block. So you'll have to lengthen out through your left leg. Some of you, this is going to work. Some of you, it is not, right? Sometimes you have to be higher still. But often, when you're doing pigeon this way, you can play a little bit with the pose because once again, we've lifted the hips off the floor. And then notice your left leg. So 1, I want you to get really long in the left leg. And I want you to see if you can just wiggle the hips a little bit so that you're leaning more toward the block and then a little less toward the block. Right, a little more, a little less. As you rest on the block, check the right ankle and make sure it isn't bothering you at all. You can shift your lower right leg anywhere, closer down to the hip, closer out to the side, and then come back to the center space where both hips feel pretty even. You're way up on the blocks here. You're up on your fingertips, right? Maybe the hands are wide. And then see if you can lift your chest. Squeeze the left glute and press into the top of your left foot. And pause, just breathe here. Keep the collarbones wide and see if you can sustain this. An interesting challenge for me with pigeon is where do we bring the hips, the knees, so that we can sustain it? Take a look at your right leg and see that your right hip and your right knee are either straight out, right, from each other or out to the right more. Another common tendency is for the right knee to come more toward the middle. Squeeze the belly in. If you can, lightly let the hands go and let them rest on the right knee. Keep lifting. You should feel a big old stretch along the left front leg. And then exhale, hands to the floor. Flip your left toes under, lift and step back to downward facing dog. Shake out the legs, bend the knees, and lower your knees. And take both blocks to the left edge of your mat. You're back in table pose. You're sliding the left knee forward. You're gonna let that left outer knee, left outer hip drop to the blocks, and then you're just gonna adjust so that it makes sense. Ideally, your left knee, left hip are straight up and down or straight forward. You're gonna start to lengthen the right leg. Watch the ankles. Make sure you're not irritating, particularly the left ankle. And then the same thing, I want you to just wiggle side to side. Lean into the block heavier, and then lean away from it. That's it. Lean toward, lean away. Just feel that. And breathe. Good. Couple more right here. And then see if you can find more of a center place where both hips feel pretty even. The right leg gets more active, right? Start to squeeze the right hip, right glute, press into the top of your right foot. Start to lift the chest if you can. This can be really difficult if your psoas is super tight, so you might be more forward. That's okay. And then if you can, let the hands come to the left knee. So you are really lifted, collarbones are wide. You're feeling very regal here, right? With this nice tall chest. Stretch it out. And then let those hands come back down to the floor. Flip your toes under on the right. Lift, down dog. Shake out those knees, those ankles. Lower your knees to the floor. And move your blocks just to the right, just off the right side of your mat. Plant your hands. Downward facing dog. Pedal your feet. Find plank. Knees up or knees down. If your knees are down, you are just hanging out here and finding your strength. Knees up, optional, lift your right foot. Optional again, I know I'm pushing today. Elbow to knee for 3 and 2 and 1. Woo. Hold. Let's just do the other side, get it out of the way. Left foot rises, and only if you want, elbow to knee or knee to elbow for 3, 2, and 1. Lower your knees. Oh, maybe child's pose, maybe hero pose. Maybe you sit back on your heels and flip your toes under to get a good stretch as you breathe. Good, come on up. So for some of you, you're going to come back to that same right side on the blocks, maybe even a blanket over the blocks, pigeon pose. For others, have the blocks near you, even closer near you. Come to table pose and just slide your right knee forward. And as you do that, right, so you're kind of little off step here, Slide the left knee back a little. And then kickstand your right foot toward the left side of your mat. A lot of you, in fact, probably most of you know how to do pigeon, but, right, sometimes we drop in, we lose all the muscle engagement. I'm not sure quite what that all does, but grab one of your blocks and set it under your right hip. Really right under that sit bone. And then slide the left leg back far enough that maybe you sit on your block under your right hip. And breathe. And then engage and lengthen your left leg. And then lift up to your fingertips. Right? Pigeon pose, king pigeon, back bend, really originally. So, find your pose. Use your breath. And then plant the hands. Don't come all the way down. I know some of you maybe are going to hang out right here and come down to your elbows. The rest of us are going to plant the hands, lean off of the block, and come on down to the hip. Now here's the challenge in pigeon. Does that hip make it to the floor? A lot of us, no, not really. So maybe the block stays there. Do the hips sway to the right, and it's really like a lazy pigeon, right? So see if you can level out the hips. See if you can lift tall in the body. See if the left side will stretch even more. And then come on down to your elbows. And breathe, but don't collapse the chest. Squeeze through the belly, engage the left hip, left glute. Maybe you have a pillow or a blanket and you want to stick it underneath the hip to give you some support. Remember we talked with Baddha Konasana about the knee just hanging. It's similar with the hip and pigeon in my humble opinion, that if the hip is hanging, the body is going to protect instead of stretch. Good, couple more breaths here. That's it. Now, I didn't say this and I'm sorry, I should have. If pigeon is not accessible, a seated or a supine figure 4 will stretch the same muscles, and I should have said that way earlier. It's why we warmed up with figure 4. All right, so if you're down on elbows, I want you to lift up. Flip your toes under on the left. Lift both hips. Squeeze your belly and step back to downward facing dog. Shake it out. Bend the knees. Shake out those legs. And then lower your knees to the floor. Maybe a block is on your left side. Slide your left knee forward. Lengthen the left or the right leg back if you need to. And then kickstand your left foot in toward the right side of your mat. Bring the left hip back a little bit. Square those hips. Maybe you slide the block and then slide the leg so that you are resting on the block underneath the left sit bone. And then again, we're just going to check it out. For years and years, I did pigeon pose, and because my hips are open, I could just kind of hang out there. And I don't recall being asked to engage the muscles. So here I'm going to ask you to engage the low belly, to engage the outer right hip, maybe even press isometrically into the block on the left side. Notice that. How does that change your pose? Maybe you can come up to fingertips and really lift the chest. Not everybody can do that. It depends on your hip structure, right? Depends on how tight you are. Good, and then either stay here on block, lower to elbows, lengthen your torso, or remove the block out from under your left hip and see if you can find grounding on the left side without dropping the left hip to the floor, like off to the side. There's some value in that pose too, by the way. You can go there. Lazy pigeon. Maybe you're down on elbows. Maybe you are smiling because we haven't done pigeon in forever. Breathe. Maybe you're in supine figure 4, honoring your hips, your knees. Good. And then press into your hands, lift up, flip your toes under on the right, lift your right knee. Start to curl the belly in, releasing that pose, and stretch it out. Downward facing dog. And then very much on purpose, walk your hands all the way back to your feet, bend your knees, hands come to knees, the chest lifts as you come all the way up. And feel those hips, right, working for you. They're working for you, not against you. All right, so coming to standing, finding your nice tall mountain pose. You might want to be near a wall or a place where we can rest a hand. Some balance work coming up, coming to you shortly. Find mountain pose. Right, and I don't know if you notice, I do that. It's like, oh, mountain pose, I'm gonna lift out, right? Lift this sack of potatoes out of the ground and stand up really tall. Lean into your right foot. Take your hands to your hips and just come to the tippy toes of your left foot. Squeeze in through the hips. Holy moly, look at the time. Squeeze in through the hips, the glutes. Lift your leg. Turn the knee out to the side. We did this already twice, right? Isometric work. And then release it and tap down. Just one more here. Lift up. Turn the knee out to the side, turn the foot up and in. 1, stay here. 2, connect. Foot to thigh, foot to lower thigh, foot to shin, and come to tree pose. Thank you, Bannister. Take your hands to your heart. Squeeze the right hip, right glute. Lift, press into your right foot so much that you actually feel taller. Press your right thigh into your left foot. Stand tall. 1, stay here. 2, come out. That's enough. 3, take the arms up. Good. Wide arms, easier. Narrow arms, thumbs behind, as if they were touching the wall behind you. Think about what we did on the floor. Everything fired up. Good. Breathe, smile, exhale. Release it. Release the leg, shake it out. Shake, shake. Mountain pose. Lift that sack of potatoes off the floor. Open up your chest, your shoulders. Big deep breath. Shift into your left foot, hands to your hips. Come to the tippy toes of your right and squeeze that left hip back into alignment. As if your whole left side got longer. When you're ready, lift your right foot off the floor. You know you can tap in, tap out. Turn the right knee out and the right foot in. Hold, release, tap down, just one more. Lift up, woo! Turn the knee out, turn the foot in, breathe, stand strong on the left side. 1, stay here. 2, connect the dots and bring the foot to the thigh or shin or floor. Squeeze those hips in, bring your hands to your heart. Oh boy, it must have gotten windy in here. Lift, squeeze in. Find your still point. Open the arms big and wide if that makes sense for you, or take the arms straight up to the ceiling. thumbs pointing back, squeezing in, finding that strong pose. That's it. And release. And shake it out. Finding the still point, that's the tricky thing, especially when there's a computer screen right in front of you. Good, roll the shoulders, everybody. Shake it out. We have one more here. Either you're gonna come right back to tree pose. We're gonna start on the right, same thing, lift, turn out, find tree for you. Choice number 2, squeeze up, lift up, bend your left knee, turn the knee out to the side. This time you're gonna bring the ankle above your right knee, okay? Watch the left knee here can get a little bit cranky. Lift up your chest, squeeze the heck out of your right hip, right glute. Good, 1, stay here, arms come out. 2, bend your right knee, whoops, and start to come down into a squat. Flex your left foot, breathe. 1, stay here, 2, hands come to the floor, fingertips. Still working with that right leg, pressing the left shin into the right leg and vice versa. Final choice, straighten the right leg. And breathe, everyone. Active legs, pressing leg into shin, shin into leg. Bend your right knee. Careful here, lift your chest, hands to your heart. Come all the way up to standing. And release. Breathe. Let's go to the other side. Tree pose, your first option. Your second, third, fourth, fifth options are all of the other things that may follow. So lift your right knee, engage your left, turn the knee out, foot in, and either come to tree pose or come to this ankle to thigh. Lift your chest. Good, 1, stay here, the arms come out, working on balance, or hands to hips, start to squat down, squat, oh yeah, breathe, maybe the hands come to the floor, you're still in your squat, foot is flexed, maybe the left leg straightens, find your breath here. And then bend your left knee. This is the hardest part. Let the hands come to your chest, your heart. Lift your chest as you straighten the leg. Woo. And release it and shake it out. Nice job, everybody. All right, so let's come to the front of our mats. How time flies when we're having fun. Come into a nice forward fold here. Step back to downward facing dog and breathe. Come to plank pose. Knees up or knees down. A nice controlled chaturanga all the way down. Slide the elbows forward. Come to Sphinx pose or optionally come to Cobra pose. How's the back? Honor it, and breathe. And everybody lower all the way down. Good, still on your bellies. Bend your right knee, flex your right foot, press both hip points to the floor and see if you can lift your right knee off the floor. Breathe. And then lower the right knee, bring that heel toward your hip. Only if you want, reach back. Grab your foot and just stretch out the quad there. Release that side. Press both hips into the floor. Bend your left knee. Foot's flexed, foot's pointing up toward the ceiling. Lift your left knee off the floor. Breathe. And lower the left knee, and again, only if you want, bring the heel closer to the hip. Reach back with your left hand. Maybe you find your foot, maybe not. And release, let that go. Turn over to your side. Slowly turn onto your back. And bring your knees to your chest. Whew. Find your breath here. Keep your left knee in chest, straighten the right leg all the way down to the floor. Your left hand to the left knee, just take your left leg out to the side. And breathe. You have a hold of your left leg, so it's not really hanging in space. It's just being supported as we stretch through that inner thigh. Inhale, bring the knee to chest. Grab that knee with your right hand. Take the knee across. Come into a supine twist. Your left arm goes out to the left side. Your shoulder stays close to the floor. We can just find our breath here. Good, release that side. Bring your left knee to your chest. Bring your right knee to your chest. Hold that one in. Stretch the left leg really long. Good, right hand to right knee. Take the right knee out to the side and just let it hang. Just let it hold. Good, inhale, knee to center. Grab that knee with your left hand. Come on across. Twisting the right knee to the left side. Your right arm is out to the side. Feel your breath. Good, release. Bring that knee back to center. Bend both knees. Bring both knees to your chest. Squeeze them in. And then straighten one leg at a time, all the way down to the edges of your mat. And once again, place one hand at the low belly. Place one hand at the upper belly or chest. The elbow should be resting on the floor so there is no activity in the upper body. The chin is level, the back of the neck is long. And we come back to that 3-point breath. We come back to that filling, gentle filling of the belly, the high belly, the lungs, all the way up to the collarbones without over-efforting. And then we exhale and let it go. Think of the breath as a wave, a soft wave, moving in and then receding back out again. And start to feel your jaw soften. Start to feel the body heavy to the floor. Just another couple rounds here, Dirga Pranayama, 3-part breath. Two more rounds. One more. And then relax even that. Just let the breath flow softly through you as you move deeper into your Shavasana. Feel the effects of gravity gently softening your body to the floor. Feel the waves of breath cleanse and heal whatever is going on. Notice the mind quieting. If the mind wanders, bring it back. Soften even more. And then gently bring yourself back. Wiggling your toes and your fingers. Maybe drawing the knees toward your chest and rocking side to side. Curling those knees all the way over to one side and feeling your breath and feeling your energy and your smile. And then ever so gently pressing all the way back up to your seated pose.